Most first-time leaders think the transition starts when the promotion is announced. It doesn't. It starts way earlier when your peers begin watching you differently. This isn't paranoia. It's what happens when people sense that roles might change. Your peers start paying closer attention to how you show up, what you say in meetings, how you talk about leadership. They want to know if you still feel like one of them. That kind of attention creates pressure you didn't ask for. And what you do during this period often shapes how your first 90 days go once the role is official. Here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. Your peers start comparing themselves to you the second they sense you might advance. Social comparison isn't optional. It's automatic when status changes are possible within a group. 3 things trigger early watching: perceived competence gaps, proximity to leadership, and their own career stagnation. If they see you getting more face time with senior leaders, if they see you handling bigger projects, or if they see you being consulted on decisions they're not part of, the mental calculation starts immediately. People start worrying before they know what's actually happening. They're already deciding if your promotion helps or hurts them. They start thinking things like, will you remember where you came from? Will you protect the team? Will they lose access to you? Or worse, will you become the person evaluating their performance? These questions run in the background of every one of your interactions once the possibility of your promotion becomes real. This creates a split. Some peers start positioning themselves as allies. They offer support, they ask how they can help, and they make it clear they're on your side. Others begin distancing. They stop including you in certain conversations. They're less open about complaints and frustrations. Who you talk to changes, and you feel it even if nobody says anything. What triggers the split is how you're changing. They notice if you start using different language. They track whether you're still venting about the same things they are, or if you started defending leadership decisions. They watch how you handle being the favorite, whether you acknowledge it, deny it, or seem completely oblivious to the change. Small loyalty tests appear. Someone vents about a leadership decision in front of you to see if you'll join in or stay neutral. You get invited to after-work gatherings, and people watch whether you show up and how you act when you're there. These aren't malicious tests. They're people trying to figure out if the relationship they had with you is about to change, and if so, how much. They're also watching how you treat peers who aren't advancing. This previews how you'll treat them once you're promoted. If you're dismissive or distant with people who aren't on the leadership track, they assume that's what's coming for them too. If you stay engaged and respectful across the board, it shows that your promotion won't erase your ability to see them as equals in value. The biggest thing they're tracking is whether you're still genuinely curious about their work or if you're more focused on what your boss thinks than what your peers need. When you talk to them, are you asking real questions about what they're dealing with, or are you just going through the motions? That change in focus tells them everything about the kind of leader you'll be. They're tracking whether you're changing before your role changes. Any change in behavior gets magnified. If you start speaking differently in meetings, using more formal language, or aligning your opinions more carefully with leadership, people notice. If you stop participating in the usual complaints or start offering explanations for decisions that used to frustrate everyone equally, that tells them your allegiance is changing. How you talk about management and leadership now shows them how you'll treat them later. If you're critical of how leaders handle things, they'll assume you'll be different. If you're defensive of leadership decisions, they'll assume you're already becoming one of them. There's almost no neutral position once people suspect you're being considered for leadership. Everything you say gets interpreted through the lens of what kind of leader you'll be. They notice if you start distancing yourself from team complaints or aligning more with leadership perspectives. This is one of the most visible changes. If the team is frustrated about a policy and you used to be the first person to agree, but now you're explaining why it might make sense from a broader view, people notice. It doesn't matter if you're trying to be fair or see multiple sides. What they hear is you're no longer fully on their side. Your relationship with current leadership matters. Are you suddenly in more meetings? Getting more face time with senior leaders? You receiving different information than the rest of the team? People track this closely because it shows where you're positioned in the organization's eyes. If you're being groomed for leadership, the access gap becomes visible before any announcement happens. They're watching how you handle being the favorite. Do you acknowledge it? Do you deny it? Do you seem completely unaware that people are noticing the difference in how you're treated? Each response tells them something. Denying it can feel dishonest if the favoritism is obvious. Acknowledging it without humility can feel arrogant. Seeming oblivious can feel tone deaf. There's no perfect answer, but how you navigate this awareness matters. Your behavior in informal settings gets scrutinized differently now. After work gatherings, casual conversations, and side chats that used to feel easy now carry weight. People watch whether you're still showing up to these gatherings or if you're suddenly too busy. They notice if you're still relaxed and open or if you've become more guarded. They're trying to figure out if the person they knew is still there or if the role is already changing you. You can't stop them from watching, but you can control what they see. The worst thing you can do is pretend nothing is happening while your behavior changes in ways you're not fully aware of. The second worst thing you can do is try to be someone you're not because you're trying to manage everyone's perception. Both approaches backfire because people can feel the disconnect. Stay consistent in how you show up. Authenticity beats trying to manage perceptions. If you're excited about the possibility of a leadership role, you don't have to hide that. If you're nervous about how it might change things, be honest about it. People respect that more than a polished performance that doesn't match what they're actually seeing. Don't start performing leadership before you have the role. It reads as presumptuous and damages trust. Leading before you're officially in the position makes people feel like you've already decided the outcome and are treating them as subordinates before the hierarchy has actually changed. It's one of the fastest ways to create resentment that will carry over into your actual transition. Keep contributing at your current level while the decision is pending. Pulling back tells them you've already mentally left. If you stop doing work that made you a strong peer because you're focused on the leadership role, people notice. It reinforces the idea that you see the current role as beneath you now, which poisons the relationship before you even start managing them. Acknowledge the awkwardness when it's obvious. Pretending nothing is happening makes it worse. If you're in a situation where the tension is visible, naming it can release some of the pressure. You don't need to make a big deal out of it, but a simple acknowledgement that things feel different right now can give people permission to be honest instead of performing normalcy that no one believes. Be honest about what you know and don't know. Speculation and secrecy breed resentment. If people ask you directly about the promotion and you're not allowed to say anything yet, you can say that. If you genuinely don't know what's happening, you can say that too. What damages trust is giving answers that feel evasive or misleading because you're trying to control information. Maintain your peer relationships without trying too hard to prove you haven't changed. Forced, I'm still one of you energy backfires. People can tell when you're trying too hard to prove you haven't changed. It signals that you're aware something has changed and you're compensating for it. The healthier approach is to keep showing up as yourself and let the relationships adjust naturally to whatever happens next. This pre-promotion period isn't just about them. It's about the foundation you're laying for your actual transition. What happens before the promotion announcement often sets up how the first 90 days go. If you handle this period with consistency and honesty, you'll start the role with more trust than if you try to control how everyone sees you. Once you understand this is already happening, the next thing you'll notice is that not all peers react the same way. Some will accept the change, others will resent it. Understanding why some adjust while others don't is what the next video breaks down.